you today. How are you?
I know. Hi, friends. I'm trying to stay warm. It's winter time now, trying to stay warm with lots of fun books and dreaming about my gardens when it's
I
warm.
Oh,
know. I love this time of the year because since it gets darker sooner, I mean, you get to be more at home, and I love reading books. I love looking at books to get me inspired.
absolutely. You guys, the ladies are mentioning books because I too have been catching up on, I go all year and make a list and add it to my shopping cart and the books that I want to catch up on. And my shelves get higher and higher, and my stacks on the bedside get higher and higher. You know what I'm talking
Oh,
about,
yeah.
ladies.
Oh, yeah.
Stack. I'm like, how many more can I fit? And my husband makes a joke about it, but we're here to go over some of our favorites with you today. We want to tell you about three in particular. And so we gathered together so we can just kind of tell you what our favorites are and to highlight a few of these key authors. So I have been catching up. I'm terrible. I dog ear some of my books
Oh,
because I'm thinking nobody's going to see them. They're not part of the library, but I have made a lot of notes in my
mhm.
readings lately.
Yep.
Yes, yes.
Yep. Yep.
That's what I have. That's what I have as well. So let's just dive on in and let's get started because we have a lot of fun things that we want to tell you all.
Yay.
Absolutely. Well, we want to say a big thank you to Schiffercraft for allowing us to review these books today. I'm going to start off with Jenny Thomason's book, and you guys may recognize that name because we had Jenny on the
Yeah.
Flowers and Friends talk show in one of our early episodes that we did, and we looked at her book, Perishable Poetics. Well, she's come out with a second book called Endless Fluorescence. And
Mhm.
this book is all about the botanical art of dried floral materials. And as I flip through this book, my first thought is I could just see so many of these beautiful arrangements, like in a hotel or in a museum. Like the way that she has used and structured these pieces of art is just incredible. And she actually says in this book that, let me show you an example of one of my favorites right here. Okay, here's an example.
Yes, there's many
Oh,
beautiful.
there's so many examples. So this is an example, and she says in her book that each design took a minimum of 4 hours for her to create and construct, and many of them took a lot longer than that. And what I really like that she has done here that's just so unique that you don't find often in books is she's talking about her idea of how she is going to construct this particular dried floral design. And she actually sketches it right here. And she tells us the materials. And this is really like her foundation of the arrangement that she's creating.
Kara,
So
can
that
I
was her.
ask you a question about the
Yeah.
page? The page you just showed.
Uh
Can
huh.
you help me figure out, like, she has a delicious vellum paper in there with the
Yes.
overlay.
Right.
And
Yes.
I've never seen that in a book, but I feel
Uh-uh.
like this book is kind of like the fine wine of books. It's
Yeah.
like the timeless
Right.
classics. Is it like a vellum where she's constructed images? It's almost like she's put her sketch pad
Yes.
inside the pages. Do you see that?
Yeah, that's totally what she did here. And I love that she gives us little notes about each of the materials that she is using.
I
It's
love
just
that.
it is so interesting. And let me flip through to um, one of the pages that I really enjoyed.
I,
And this is a material that I didn't even think to use. So I love dried flowers and I love drying some that I grow in my gardens, but I never thought about using the bark of a tree. Never
Oh,
thought about it. And
mm-mm.
so she actually has several things in this book. You see that pretty white flower right here, the white and the brown flower?
Yeah.
yes.
It said that it is made from a bark, I believe. And I was like, wow, I would not have put those two together. And so with Jenny's book, she really pushes you to think outside the box uh, of just materials that you may have uh, in your landscapes, in your gardens. And I just really appreciate this book. And I could flip through it several times and always find a new little something to see that I didn't notice beforehand. So
Like
this is
little
definitely,
visual. They're like, you know what? They're like little visual additives.
yeah,
And
right.
when I was
She
flipping through, and even just looking at the elegant cover that you showed in her images,
Mm-hmm.
I kept calling it like the fine wine of books.
Right.
You know,
Right.
whatever price it is, I feel like this is one of those books. It's going to increase in value,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
The
Oh, yeah.
older it is. So
Yeah.
kudos to Jenny. And not only is she a lovely person who we had on Flowers and Friends, she's super passionate, just like both
Yeah.
of you are passionate about flowers, and both of you are passionate about what you do. Jenny is also just like that. I enjoyed all of these books, and it's interesting to see what you pulled from it, Kara.
Uh-huh.
Like what, like what we all found as
Right.
a highlight for the pages and for the books. Anna, on the book, the herbarium, you just talked about the silk flowers, and I'm excited to hear your perspective on it, because I was in the bathtub going through and like going, and I was fascinated by,
Right.
I kept thinking to myself, but why not just paint them? This is so much work, right?
I know. And one of the reasons I love this book so much is precisely because it changed my perspective on flowers. You know me, I've been with you girls for almost a year every week talking about flowers and how much I love fresh flowers and how much I'm into fresh flowers. So when I was going through this book, I was like, why silk flowers? Why people want to, I don't know, not have fresh flowers? And I started to read the intro at she had me at the intro, you know?
You're right.
Same.
Utopiano. I don't know if it's a him or a her, cuz this person's not a single picture on the book of that person who's doing this, but I would think it's female. But anyway, that's not the important part. This person used to have like a garden, a really beautiful garden in Japan. So she she wanted to like make wearables, and
Yes.
she would always be posting pictures on Instagram of her garden.
Uh-huh.
But then she was like, I wonder how I can make more out of this. A fresh flower would only last so long. So
Yeah.
she went into creating crafts, and
Right.
she started to take really pay close attention to all the details of the flowers.
Mhm.
She would study the flowers from as it began to bloom to when it would open completely. And then she created all this with silk materials. The book goes into all the details, starting with how to create the colors, how to dye the fabric. It has all these patterns so you can make the flowers. It's
Yes.
so beautiful. I now I wanna. It's really hard though. It looks because I'm not that much of a crafty person, but now
Right.
I'm like, of course, you don't always need fresh flowers. I mean, having really beautiful silk flowers like in a hat, as a pin holder in a dress, or
Mhm.
even in a frame. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. It totally changed my perspective. And then the book has all these beautiful stories of when this
Mhm.
person was growing up. And I really recommend this.
Yeah.
Another
Anna,
thing that a lot of people are always asking me, like, where can I get really good silk flowers?
right.
Mhm.
Sometimes that's really hard. So this
Yeah.
book is like detailed step by step as to how you can make your own silk flowers.
Yeah.
And I think that will bring the quality. It will be a great experience if you're into crafts. I mean,
Uh-huh.
I really want to try it. And I really want to try some
Yeah,
of the
me too.
single flowers like the pansies. They look really
Yeah.
fancy. So I'd
Anna,
really like.
you know what my favorite part of the book was? Page 74. I love when this page right here, how she listed all the different tools.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't realize you would need so many different tools to create these flowers. And I love that they're laid out and she says what each of them are. So I think this is really pretty right here.
I think
Very
it's
helpful.
beautiful as well. My favorite, you all, is the Persian buttercup. I
Yes.
how do you not smile when you're looking at that
Uh-huh.
flower?
And that looks so realistic. As
It looks
someone who
realistic.
grows those, that looks so realistic.
And I started looking at her flowers because she calls them brooches. So she's turning each one of these into a brooch. So what she's actually making is an heirloom gift
Yes.
because it doesn't ever die. So she's taking these little brooches and she's adding it to wearable art that we were
Yeah.
just talking about. Like she's adding them to jackets, she's adding them to hats, which really got my mind thinking about my hats, ladies.
Yes. Yes.
I kept thinking about you, Dion. I was like, and
Yeah.
because in the intro when she talks about how some people paint flowers, and I was like, yes, why not get inspired to craft with? I mean, flowers, as we've learned this past year, are everywhere. They are inspiring people all over. So
It's
it
so true.
really got to me.
It's so true. And that's what it left me with. I was not only is the imagery really beautiful, the way that she's styling.
Yes. I
they-
was thinking, I want to hang those in my flower house. Like, how beautiful are these?
yeah, and they've taken a lot of time to be thought out on the setup, and the visuals are what I found almost just very inspiring, made me want to paint them. I also, like I said, I went through and picked favorites. I found that the extra fine cotton that she's using, if you imagine using that in a very small form, like Anna, you mentioned that she makes patterns from real flowers. So she's taking a flower, fresh flower, she said not dried, and she's making a pattern from it, adding that on fabric. And I'm just fascinated. Like I said, it would be so much easier to go like this and just paint it real quickly. So it makes me truly appreciate everyone's craft and what they focus on, and how that's what speaks to her and or he. I'm with you. I don't know the name of the author. So they put it together in such a beautiful way that really personally inspired me. So I think that anybody that has this book would be inspired to add those details to their own crafts. That's what my takeaway is.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, our third book, you guys, is not necessarily about flowers, but it's certainly about nature, and it is one of the oldest forms of art. Jenny Hill has this book here also with Schiffer Publishing, and it is the Artisan Felting Wearable Art. And I am fascinated at the technique, because this technique of wool felting, and some of you that are listening, you might be aware of how felting works, but over the last year, I've had a student that I've been mentoring, and she's been teaching me through the screen how to felt, and that she has to actually agitate the wool. And I've been learning so much. So when I got this book, I actually immediately referred it to Allison and said, you need to check out this person, because there's a couple of things I want to share with you all as well. Jenny is very, she is very knowledgeable. She's the founder and the creative director for J. Hill Felt. So she has a large corporation and company that she has built from here. She has clients from the Fortune 500 executives and prestigious fashion collectors, as well as artistically minded and fashion forward shoppers. I'm going to be honest. I did not know until this year. I wasn't thinking of felted wool as fashion forward. Then I opened these designer pages. And inside, she walks us through 7 tutorials, 7 step-by-step, starting with her studio setup and her supplies. And you know I would wear this, ladies.
Yes, you would. I totally see you in that.
I want it. So I've read this. I did read this book more than the others because, fashion is something I'm also very interested in. But she goes through and she lays out patterns. I also didn't know that you could make patterns. And the way that you do it is cutting the wool and cutting it and putting it together in almost a crisscross pattern. And that's what she's done on this one here. So after she's dyed the fabric, she's laying the strips over each other, and then she agitates it with like soap and water. There's this tool that she shows you about, and she agitates it. And then she shows you in, like I said, 7 different step-by-step tutorials. And this is the pattern making that I wanted to show you.
Yeah.
I know that it might be hard to see, but when you cut out the strips like that and you overlap them, you customize them. And
Mhm.
even in the seventh tutorial throughout this book, she actually does a sequined dress and the ruching and does designer dresses for people. So I found it really fascinating. Inside, she tells a lot of her personal story, her why, her what. And just like with all of the books from Schiffer, excuse me, there are 18 of them specifically on our book club that we have, and I know they have a long list of books that you can acquire. I just think they're very intentional, and every single one of them is just as intriguing as the one before. Ladies, did you get a chance to flip through, and did you find any of her favorite projects? Did you get a chance?
Well,
I did go through it, and it's fascinating. I mean, it's something I don't think I could ever actually do. Well, you never know, but I was like amazed. It's like I never heard of this, and that is one of the things I
yeah.
like so much about books. And this time of the year, they get you inspired. They get you into thinking outside the box. It's so that is like great for us creatives. We need it doesn't necessarily need to be a book about something that you will specifically do, but to get you inspired, to
Right.
get you into the awe factor. I mean,
Yeah.
that is so important.
You're right.
Yeah. I really loved, once again, I love these type of pages, how she went through the different fiber materials and she showed them up close.
Yeah.
And as you know, like that was my favorite part of this book too. And then Jenny is like Schiffer Craft has done a really great job with their authors of
Uh-huh.
explaining like items needed for these particular crafts, because it just helps give me a vision of, oh, okay, I might need this cream cotton lace, and that's what it looks like. Okay, you know.
I know. I mean, it's a sassy little bolero jacket, and
I love it.
what I also found, and I learned from a friend this year too, you can add in those little sparkle elements into the wool, and they literally lay each, and she shows you how she lays down the fibers, agitates them, and it opens up all of the fibers and it helps them connect. So it's just interesting. I think I just like the word agitate. Agitate. I really enjoyed this. The artisan felting. I would inspire all of you, or recommend that all of you look up Jenny Hill. She's on all of the social media platforms as well, and also to go and check out Schiffer. You can see them on our website on Bloom TV. If you go up to blog, you can see all of our favorites and all of our recommendations. I, for one, am going to use this one as a particular coffee table book because, like I said, it's like fine wine. It is so pretty.
Beautiful.
It is.
It's beautiful. Such a beautiful book. Well, ladies, this has been so fun chatting about all these books today.
It has.
So much
It has.
fun.
I've enjoyed this moment so much. I love being with you girls.
Now, to get to my next stack of books, it's long and lengthy. My next stack of books sitting on my bedside table. There's one beside my bed. There's one over beside my little love seat over there, but I'm going to get to them. And before I know it, spring will be here, and we'll be watching the flowers pop out of the ground. And I will be watching Kara show off all of the beauties popping out of her garden. I can't wait. Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed that. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach us out on social media, on Instagram, and on Bloom TV Network. And until next time, we will see you. As usual, what do we say, Kara?
Everything is always better